New South Wales Department of Justice, Alternative Dispute Resolution in the Children's Court.
The New South Wales Children's Court deals with matters relating to the care and protection of children and young people.
People talking.
The court can make different types of orders about the care and protection of your child. The job of the Children's Court is to make decisions about how children will be kept safe and healthy. It's important that you can provide input into the future care of your child. One way to do this is by taking part in a dispute resolution conference or another type of mediation.
A courthouse.
The following story explains what happens when you are referred to one of these programs by the Children's Court.
A woman typing at her desk in a private office.
Oh, hi Melissa, come on in.
A young woman enters.
How are you?
I'm scared and confused. I don't understand what the Children's Court said that we had to do in 2 weeks. It's something called a dispute resolution conference.
A dispute resolution conference is basically an informal meeting between you and Michael as Emily's parents, community services, and Emily's lawyer. Now it's a chance for everyone to sit down and discuss the concerns that they might have about Emily's safety and care. Now, while we're talking about all of these things, the whole point must always be a focus on Emily and her best interests. So what needs to happen to make sure that Emily is safe and healthy? It's not about what you or Michael want.
Okay, so who's going to be at the conference?
Well, you and Michael will be there. I will be there, Melissa, as your lawyer, community services caseworker and their manager, the community services lawyer, and Emily's lawyer.
Wow, that's heaps of people. So who's going to run the conference?
Well, in your case, it'll be a children's registrar from the Children's Court, but sometimes it could be a mediator from outside of the court. Either way, they are independent. They don't take sides. Children's registrars and mediators are not judges or magistrates. They don't come in to make a judgment about you or your case. Their role in the conference is to help discussions along.
What do you mean, help discussion along?
Well, a mediator is there to help everyone talk about the matter and to work out what the important issues are for everyone that's at the conference. They're also there to identify what is agreed upon and what is not. And when it comes to the point of discussing Emily's care and the options for it, then they'll help you to think about that.
Do I have to be there, Jenny?
This is your chance to sit down with community services and Emily's lawyer and state your point of view. Now, I will be there as your lawyer, and it is my role to support you. So if you feel unable to speak at any time, then I can speak up for you.
So how will the conference be run?
Well, every conference is run a little differently depending on everyone's needs, but all conferences run for between 2 to 3 hours. There'll be time allowed for a group discussion, time to speak privately with the registrar, and even time to speak to me if you need it. Plus, if you feel that you need a break, there is time to go outside and clear your head.
So do I need to do anything before the conference?
So first of all, read Community Services Care Application for Emily. Try and understand why they are so concerned about Emily's care.
Okay, so first of all, read through the Community Services Care Application. Okay, I can do that.
Okay, next. You need to try and see what the important issues are around Emily's care that need to be worked out. So things like you staying off the drugs. Think about how you can put right all or at least some of the issues that you've identified. Perhaps starting with how to help your drug problem.
Okay, so once I've thought about all the things that need fixing, well, what then?
Well then, we need to start thinking about the options for Emily's care. Now, try and be open-minded. We might need to think about Emily staying with an auntie for a period of time. We also need to work out how Michael can fit in with these options too, even though you're not together anymore. As Michael and Emily are Aboriginal, we also need to work into the agreement that Emily will stay linked to her culture and connected to Michael's family too. So think about the options that you would prefer and how they would affect Emily. Try and think about the options that would be in Emily's best interests. And those options that you come up with ask yourself, are they enough to keep Emily as safe and healthy and happy as possible?
Okay, so think of the different places where Emily could live and also how her heritage is important.
That's right. And last but not least, the reality test.
What's that?
Well, it's sitting back and thinking about the options that you've chosen and how realistic they are. Thinking about all of these things is going to help you to understand the case better and understand what you can get out of the conference.
I'll need to have a think. It's so much to take in. Shall I come back and see you when I've thought about it?
Yeah, let's catch up next week and we can talk about the issues and the options that you've come up with and see if we can add any more to them.
Okay. And what about Michael, Emily's dad? He doesn't have a lawyer. Does he need to do anything?
Oh yes, even though he doesn't have a lawyer, he still needs to think about all the things we've spoken of today.
Okay. Thanks, Jenny. I'll let Michael know. I'm nervous about the dispute resolution conference, but I can see that it's the best way for me to have my say about Emily's care, so I will definitely have a think about all these things. So I'll see you in a week.
Okay, thanks Melissa, see you then.
2 weeks later, Melissa and Michael are waiting in a corridor with an older man. Jenny joins them.
Hello Melissa, hi Michael.
Oh.
Good to see you here nice and early.
Hey.
Now Michael, how are you feeling about today's conference?
Well, I'm pretty nervous, so I decided to bring my dad Greg along.
Hi Greg, nice to meet
Very
you.
hungry.
Hi. And Melissa, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm nervous, but I'm not going to miss the chance to have my say.
Yeah, try not to be nervous because we have prepared really well, okay? And everyone coming to this conference is going to be focused on getting an agreement that is in Emily's best interests.
That's the community services caseworker and the manager.
Okay, well don't worry. Everybody is here to do what is right by Emily, okay? We'll all get a chance to speak. Now come on, we're about to go in.
Participants sitting at tables arranged in a U shape.
Good morning everybody, my name is Registrar Jones and I'll be chairing the conference today. Perhaps to start, if we could just go around the table and introduce ourselves. Perhaps we could start with Emily's mum.
Hi, my name's Melissa. I'm Emily's mum.
Hi, I'm Jenny Brown. I'm Melissa's lawyer.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm Emily's dad, but I don't have a lawyer.
That's fine, Michael. Part of my job today is to make sure that you get an opportunity to say what it is that you would like to say. If you have any questions that arise during the process, please don't hesitate to ask.
My name is Greg. I'm Michael's dad. I'm here to support him today.
Thanks, Greg. Does anybody here have a problem with Greg being here as a support person for Michael?
No.
Well, Greg, you probably won't have as much opportunity to speak as everybody else because your main role here today is as a support person for Michael. But if you feel that there's something that you could say that would add value and contribute to the discussion, then please do so.
My name is Mark Duncan and I'm Emily's lawyer.
And I'm Maria. I'm the Community Services caseworker for Emily and her family.
My name is Tara and I'm the manager at Community Services.
Hi, my name is Gordon Wong and I'm the lawyer for Community Services.
Great, that's everybody. Our main purpose today is to try and reach agreement about the future care arrangements for Emily. Emily's best interests are our primary focus today, and if we can reach agreement, it may mean that you avoid going to the Children's Court for a hearing. I'd ask that everybody be here today with an open mind and that you speak directly to each other, because even though there are lawyers here, it's really about the parties participating in the process and speaking directly to each other. The court takes these conferences very seriously, and if agreement can be reached, one of the lawyers here can write that agreement up and it can be given to the Children's Court. What is said today is confidential, although there are some exceptions to that. One of those exceptions is if we all consented. Another exception would be if new information came to light about a child being abused, or if telling somebody outside the room would mean protecting a person from risk of harm, from being harmed, or from property being damaged. So those are the exceptions to confidentiality. I've read all of the information that's been filed about Emily, and it seems to me that the main issues concerning her care are whether or not there's a realistic possibility of Emily being restored to her parents, to Melissa and Michael, where Emily should live in the short term and in the longer future term, how much contact Emily should have with people who are significant to her, and maintaining Emily's links with her culture to the extent that Michael and Melissa would be happy with. Is there anything else that anyone can think or would like to add to those issues? No? Okay, well perhaps we could start with the first one, which is whether or not there's a realistic possibility of Emily being restored to her parents. And Maria, as Emily's caseworker, would you like to talk about that?
Thanks, Registrar. At this stage, we are undecided about whether Emily can return to Melissa and Michael's care. The main concerns that community services have is about your drug use, Melissa. When I spoke with you last month, you said that you were still using drugs, although you were trying to come clean. So how are you going with that now?
Well, I know that my drug taking really messes me up, and it's meant that I can't take care of Emily as well as I should. I want to stop, but it's heaps hard. I spoke to my doctor last week, and he's sending me to a drug rehab program at the RPA hospital. It's for 6 months, and it's meant to be a good one. I'm going there next week so they can work out what's going to happen.
That's fantastic progress, Melissa. It's great to hear that you're willing to commit to a 6-month program to help with your addiction. Give Maria a call when you started, and we'll speak with you how we can contact the clinicians at the rehab to check on your progress. It is essential that you not only attend the rehab program, but you actually make progress as well.
So Michael, as Emily's dad, how do you feel about what's been said?
I support Melissa 100%. We both want Emily to come back and live with us even though we're not living together anymore. And I'm willing to do anything it takes to bring her home. Emily's staying currently with an Aboriginal family in foster care. I still think it's a good idea that we somehow involve her in some of my family activities. I know I've got a lot of issues, especially with some of my anger management stuff. I read through the care application again and again, and I know that's one of the reasons why Emily can't live with us.
That's right, Michael. And we would really like you to go and have some kind of anger management counselling with a psychologist. Have you ever thought about that?
No, not really, but if you think it would help, I'd be interested. How can I find one?
Well, if you have a GP, you could ask them for a referral to a psychologist. If you don't have a GP, we could help you get in contact with one.
But I actually do have my own doctor, so I can actually see him tomorrow.
Oh, good. Well, we have an appointment next week, so perhaps you could let me know how it's gone then.
He nods.
We will be considering both of your progress in rehab and counselling in looking at whether it's a realistic possibility that Emily can be returned to your care.
And Mr. Duncan, as Emily's lawyer, what do you think about the prospects of Emily being returned to Michael and Melissa's care?
Well, as Emily's lawyer, I have some real concerns in regards to Melissa's drug addiction and Michael's anger management issues. However, I do feel that attending rehab and counselling are very good steps towards resolving those issues.
And Melissa, we are very happy with the way that you've been working with us to try and resolve your situation. I know that you've already finished the parenting course that we asked you to go to. So further down the track, we might agree that Emily can be returned to your care, but in the short term, we think that Emily needs to stay in foster care until we can be assured that both you and Michael have resolved your problems.
The participants exchange glances and Jenny makes some notes before speaking with Melissa at the table. They're still talking when they leave the conference room together. Melissa's wringing her hands nervously, but then she looks relieved.
Wow, that felt like a really long time, but it was better than I thought, and I think I can see what we need to do to get Emily back.
Yeah, I agree, Melissa. Well done. Now, we were able to reach an agreement today that there is still some work to be done by you and Michael before Emily can be returned to your care. Now, you will need to continue with the rehab, and Michael will need to start anger management counselling. Okay, now community services will be checking in with the clinicians at the rehab and the counselling just to see how both you and Michael are going. Community Services have said that they will consider returning Emily to your care in 12 months, depending on how you go in the rehab. In the meantime, Emily will need to live in foster care, even though she will have contact with Michael's parents and his uncle. Okay. Community Services will be having a meeting next week with both you and Michael's parents, just to discuss how Emily can stay in contact with her culture while she is in foster care. Now, your contact with Emily will be pushed to later in the afternoon to take into account your rehab and with Emily's sleeping times.
So, what happens now?
Well, now, a lawyer from today's conference will draft up an agreement, and that will go in front of a magistrate at the Children's Court next week. And if the magistrate believes that the agreement is in Emily's best interests, then they will turn it into final orders. Now, you need to stay in touch with Community Services and have those meetings while you're in this rehab program, just so that they can monitor your progress.
Thanks, Jenny. It's good to feel like we can get there. I mean, maybe now I can kick the habit and get Emily back. See you in a week's time.
Yep, see you then.
Melissa walks away with a smile.
So remember, if you're going to a dispute resolution conference or some other type of mediation in the Children's Court, make sure that you prepare. Read through the Community Services Care application again and think about what they are worried about. Identify what you see as the real issues in the case around the care of your child. Write them down in order, with the most important issues first. These issues could be things like a parent continuing to take drugs or where your child will live. Try to also think about these issues from Community Services' point of view if you can. Next, think about different options for the care of your child. These could be options around where your child will live and who will have parental responsibility for your child. Think about which option you prefer and the impact that this will have on your child. Lastly, reality test. This is about sitting back and thinking about the options that you've just come up with. Be realistic about your position and make sure that your options are reasonable. Turn up on the set date and on time. Come with an open mind. Speak up when you're invited to have your say. It's the best chance you have to contribute to the consideration of your child's future care. And lastly, remember, you all have your child's best interests at heart.
The logo for the New South Wales Government Department of Justice.